All right. Okay, so my apologies, guys. Let me know if you can hear me now. We should be good to go. Test, test. Test, test, guys. If you can hear me clearly, let me know. And then we're going to get into today's topic, the top 10 US trucks to export to Nigeria in 2026. High demand, high ROI vehicles is what we want to be focused on. Just give me 1 second. Let me check my television here. All right, test, test. All right, test, test. All right. So looks like we're good. You can hear me, right? Audio's working. Perfect. So looks like we're good. My apology. I had to take my vest. It was getting a little bit warm in here. So, like I was saying, for those who are tuning in, my name is Richard Barakat. I'm the founder of Barakat Ventures. We are at barakat.com, powering US Nigeria exports and investments. So today, I want to give you guys a little bit of information on the top 10 trucks that, in my personal opinion, I think for those who are interested in automobile exports to look into exporting in 2026. In the early 2000s, from like 2003, 2000, from 2003 to let's say 2006, I was heavily involved in auto exports from the United States to Nigeria. Back then, though, I was doing mostly passenger cars, which it's something that I would not recommend that anyone does because it's just so. And again, this is my recommendation in 2025. It is very, very saturated in Nigeria at the moment. For those dealing in standard passenger cars like Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic, just regular passenger cars, very saturated. You are going to be dealing with a lot of people that are buying very cheap accidented cars, the cars that have been involved in fire, flood, that is just not fit for US roads. And you can find some of these cars for two, three, four, $500, and you pay an additional, let's say, $3,000 to $4,000 to get it shipped and landed. So the profit margin on those cars in Nigeria very, very small. Very, very, very small. Some cases, if you walk out or you walk away with, let's say, even 200 or 500,000 naira in profit, that is very, very small compared to what you can earn if you're dealing with like used work trucks. I got out of that business because I got burned by a childhood friend of mine. That was why I left the business. But if I were to go back, which I've been thinking about going back to, if I want to go back to doing vehicle exports again, I'm going to focus specifically on work trucks, construction vehicles like water tanks, payloaders, bulldozers. For those in the agricultural space, you can look into like tractors. These, they have a very high resale value in the United States. And as a result, I guarantee you there'll be a high resale value in Nigeria for items like that. So where I live in Henderson, we live in a very industrial sort of area here in Las Vegas. Pickman specifically is where I live. So I see a lot of like work trucks, water tankers, fuel tanks, cement mixers, dump trucks. This is where the market is for those interested in exporting car vehicles. Shouldn't say cars because that's not the focus. The focus today is on trucks, though. And it's for to forget about 2025. It's already over. People are getting ready for the holidays. But if you're looking into vehicle exportation for 2026, we're going to go over some of the top 10 in demand trucks that you can export to Nigeria in 2026. East Texas. What's going on, Marcus? What part of East Texas? I lived in Palestine, Texas. When I came to the US at the age of 12, I came through Texas, Palestine, Texas. If you notice, if you know that it's a small town, though, I think it's like 18,000 population. You are in Henderson. What part? I'm over there near Cadence. Oh, you mean Henderson, Texas? Or Henderson, Nevada. Oh, okay, Henderson, Texas. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I lived in Palestine. I lived in Arlington. My dad lived in Baytown, right next door to Palestine. So you know Elkhart, you know all those areas. No, small world, big world, small world. I don't miss Texas though. Texas is too sleepy for me. I do not miss Texas at all. But it was fun in those days. I still keep in touch with some of the guys that I went to Palestine Middle School. I still keep in touch with those guys on social media. Look at you, Southern guy. Where? I went to Cal State Northridge. I went to college in Northridge, California. Yeah, I lived in Los Angeles for 12 years from 1990, so from 2001 to 2013. And then I moved to Vegas in 2013, and I've been in Vegas ever since. Laguna Beach, those areas now. OC. That used to be my playground. We would drive back then. We were college kids. We would drive all the way from LA, from Northridge, San Diego. We used to party in Tijuana. We used to party in Tijuana. We would, man, I'm telling you, those days. I don't know what college kids these days do, but those days, you're talking about pre-social media, where you actually had to get out there and make friends and get out there and meet people. These days, all engagement is online. Everybody's swiping. Back then, we have to get in a car and drive and go to clubs, Newport Beach, all that area. From like we didn't really do much in like Long Beach, but it was like from that Newport, Huntington Beach, all the way down Laguna, like he's talking about, to La Jolla, San Diego, and then we'll cross over into TJ. And we'll even go as far as like Rosarito in Mexico. Where didn't I go in college? All of us are old men now. We're in our 40s. We're all married with kids. I traded my 1,000 square foot townhome for 20 acres. Good for you. That's the way to do it. Listen, when I used to live in LA, the last city I lived in, Los Angeles County, was Marina Del Rey. If you guys know Marina Del Rey, I was literally a 10-minute walk from the beach. I was paying then, no, you're looking at like 2012, because I spent a year in Marina Del Rey. I was paying 1,600, no, $1,400 for a studio apartment. Like I could literally spread my arms. That is like the entire space I had in Marina Del Rey, just to say I live near the beach. When I ended up leaving, the first apartment that I got in Vegas was like $735 a month. I had a one bedroom. I was the second tenant. The building was that new. I was the second tenant in that room, in that building, apartment complex. So you get more for your money. And everyone is fleeing California now. No one is staying in California. A lot of people are fleeing. All my friends, they're all like my boy that I just spoke to yesterday. He's in Houston. He's in Dallas. Some of my friends moved to Florida. Everyone is sort of like fleeing that area. But good for you. I know you have a lot of land. I mean, 20 acres. That is how are you maintaining? And you have animals too, livestock. Pretty good. I mean, are you talking about like livestock or wild animals? Like, what are you talking about? And how do you maintain a 20-acre property? Let me know. But let's get into the topic. Top 10 trucks to export in 2026, guys. Over 400,000 vehicles. This is data now. Are imported into Nigeria every year. And about 60% of those vehicles come from the United States of America. That's a lot of money in trade volume. But not every truck is profitable. I have to tell you guys that. Some move faster depending on the part that you are, whether you're in Lagos, whether you're in Port Harcourt. But for the most part, getting into truck exports, work truck export is more beneficial. It's going to be more beneficial for you than passenger cars. So the US is the largest exporter of used trucks to Africa. Nigeria is the largest importer of used US trucks in Africa. So Nigerians favor American trucks for their durability, the status, and the load power. Importations mainly enter through Lagos. Like for me, when I exported my car, the private car that I have right now, um, in Nigeria, it's a 2012 Hyundai Elantra. I exported it through Freeport, Texas. So I got the vehicle trucked from Henderson, Nevada, to Freeport, Texas. I paid between like $1,000 to $1,100 for it, and then I did what was called roll. That's roll off, roll on. Some people are going to have the option of whether you want to ship through a container or not, but you actually save more money if you go through roll on, roll off. Unless you are shipping, let's say, a brand new vehicle or an exotic car, I will not recommend roll on. I will not recommend. I will recommend container for cars like that, sports cars, luxury vehicles. But if it's just a standard car, just do roll on, roll off. Back then in 2022, I think I paid like either $1,200 to $1,400 to have it shipped via roll on, roll off vessel from Freeport, Texas to Tinkan Island, Lagos. And I think I paid like an additional $1,000 to have it cleared. So all told, I spent about $4,000 in logistics from Henderson, Nevada, to Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. So yeah, let's get into it. What are you guys currently driving right now? Let me know in the comment section for those who are watching. What cars? Oh, sorry, what trucks are you? What truck are you currently driving right now? So let's go with number 10. Let's start with number 10. The Ford Super Duty F250 and F350. So why the US buyers love something like this is obviously it's legendary. It's got a very strong towing capacity, power, engine endurance for commercial use. And I know Marcus, based in Texas, I know you see a lot of trucks out there. I had the privilege actually of working in the heartlands of the United States for 18 months. I worked in Utah for a while, and then I worked in Colorado for a while. I got a chance to see a lot of like construction, that market, that general middle belt America, heartland America. You are going to see a lot of people with trucks. That's what I'm saying, guys. And I know I don't see a lot of people dealing in truck export. Mostly passenger car exports. So Nigerians, we have our bad roads. We have our bad roads in the country. So a diesel-based Ford Super Duty F250, F350 is something to consider. Where can you source these vehicles in the United States? You can go to platforms like auctionexport.com to find used Ford F-250s, Ford F-350s. You can also look into Copart, Mannheim, um, private parties as well. If you want to really, again, if you want to export it for your own personal private use, I highly suggest you going through a private party. But if you want to resell it in Nigeria, it's okay to go through these auction sites. The thing about it is, a lot of these trucks, though, they're not meant for suitable for US roads. That is why they're available for people to export, mostly to like third African nations, uh, um, South America, those sort of like third world countries. That's really where they go to buy their cars, like auctionexport.com. So number nine, the Chevy Colorado. So the Chevy Colorado is more of a medium size truck. Chevy obviously is an American brand. The Colorado has been around for quite some time. Um, on sites like Auction Export, you can find the Colorado anywhere from like $2,000 to $3,000. Again, depending on the condition, but you're going to expect to pay at least expect to land it in Nigeria for, let's say, about $5,000 $6,000. Um, and then just kind of like do your calculations, see what they're going for. A good site for you to check in Nigeria of the current prices of cars and trucks in Nigeria is Gigi. That's the site that I use, jiji.ng. So the Chevy Colorado is very compact, fuel efficient, and very versatile for city or rural use. Um, why Nigerians want the Chevy Colorado? It's great for small logistics businesses and last mile deliveries. Nigeria is a highly um, Nigeria is what is it? I would consider Nigeria a trading country. There's a lot of trading going on in Nigeria. Uh, People are going to need medium-sized trucks to haul cargo, to do deliveries. I've seen them in some cases. They use these trucks as for like moving companies that specializes in apartment and home moves. They can definitely benefit in a mid-sized truck that's also fuel efficient, like the Chevrolet Colorado. Number eight, the Ford Ranger. I'm listening from 10 to 1. 8 Ford Ranger. My dad actually owned a red Ford Ranger. Very effective car, mid-sized truck, very practical, very efficient. His though at the time was manual. So that's another thing you gotta look into too, is check the drivetrain of these trucks. Automatic tend to sell much faster than manual. Okay. Manuals are a little bit cheaper, but if you want something that's going to move fast for you, I definitely recommend getting one with an automatic transmission. Just like the Chevy Colorado, though, the Ford Ranger is also in that mid-size range. Practical and efficient, just like the Colorado. As you know, Ford is the grandfather of automobiles in the United States. They have and the cool thing about these trucks, you have to realize, is like the parts are easily accessible. They are also affordable. So instead of going out and getting luxury trucks or trucks that you may not necessarily even be able to find the parts to, you got to look into like the Fords and the Chevys. So the Ford Ranger is a good balanced mix of diesel economy and off-road reliability. The export advantage that you have if you want to deal with the Ford Ranger is it is very popular in Nigeria's logistics and transport sector. Excellent resale demand for the Ford Ranger. Again, the best sites to find what the going rates are, you can go to gg.ng in Nigeria. Nissan Frontier, that's number 7. Very durable, very simple, and affordable for small businesses. It's ideal for contractors. A lot of like landscapers that I see just all across the United States here. You see them driving a lot of the Ford Rangers. They drive a lot of like the Nissan Frontiers and the Chevy Colorados. Those mid-size, mid-range vehicles is what they usually drive. Great for landscaper. If you're in the landscaping business, look into, or if you're actually looking at servicing people in that landscaping business, look into the mid-size range Nissan Frontier um, option. Very, very low cost to purchase and ship. Strong, reliable resale value. As far as like parts goes, just like the Ford, just like the Chevys, Nissan parts are very, very accessible. Through you can either go through directly through the dealerships, or you can go on like websites like eBay. Like when I bought parts just recently, not too long ago, I bought some parts for my uncle. But his vehicle wasn't it was not a pickup truck. It was a Ford Explorer SUV. I bought the part for him on eBay and shipped it to him from the United States. So the Nissan Frontier is number 7. The Toyota Tundra, I see quite a bit of this in Nigeria. Nigeria is very huge on Toyota brands. Just like Nigeria, the Toyota Tundra here is also very popular, something that you can buy, resell. It's got a very strong VA power, obviously with Toyota's iconic reliability. I would say Toyota is probably one of the top most in-demand brands in Nigeria. So whether it's a Toyota Tundra, or Toyota Corolla, or Toyota Camry, Toyota is generally in high demand in Nigeria. So the Tundra, why Nigerians will want this truck? Obviously, it's heavy duty, it's very rugged. The resale value is also very, very high. Number 5 is the Dodge Ram 1500 series. Strong design. This is also more in the mid-size range. Very, very similar to the Tundra, similar to the Nissan Frontier, the Ford Ranger, Chevy Colorado. They are all within that size range. So the Dodge Ram 1500. That's number 5. Number 4, GMC Sierra 1500. In the breakout clips, I'm going to include the images of these trucks in the breakout clips. This is the long format of this, but I'm going to go ahead and chop them up in 2 to 3 minute segments and showcase some pictures so you guys can see what they look like. So the GMC Sierra 1500, we talked, so similar to the Dodge Ram. Ram is actually a very, very strong brand. Again, it says here, why US buyers love it is the luxury twin of the Silverado. Power meets sophistication. It says it's a status symbol, though, for successful entrepreneurs and government contractors. I don't know how true that is, but the GMC Sierra is a very, very popular pickup truck here in the United States that I know will do very well in Nigeria. Number 3 is the Chevy Silverado 1500 in the same family as the GMC Sierra. Chevy Silverado. Chevrolet is also an American brand, just like the GMC. Number 2, the Toyota Tacoma, also very, very popular, super reliable. Now we're looking at more of like the compact end though. Now, very, very fuel efficient. So you're looking at the Toyota Tacomas, you're looking at the Toyota Tundras. They're all in that same range of fuel efficiency, reliability. They're very easy to maintain with accessible parts. That you can find on third-party marketplace like eBay. You can look on apps like Facebook Marketplace. All of this. The United States consumers love vehicles like this and trucks like this because not only are they functional, not only are they reliable, they are also affordable, easy to maintain, and the parts are there. They are accessible parts. that people can easily find online on various marketplace apps. Number one, this is the one that I actually own, is the Ford F-150. In parentheses here, is the king of trucks. So I drive a 2005 Ford F-150. When I was on the road doing project management work for Walmart, traveling all over the heartlands of the United States. As I mentioned earlier, I was driving from Las Vegas to Utah to Colorado. I'm telling you guys, if you want peace of mind, if you are looking for a truck that you know that when it hits the ground in Nigeria, you are going to find buyers faster than any of the models that I mentioned leading up to this. You want to invest in the Ford F-150 series. You want to invest in the Ford F-150. It is the number one truck in the United States. 40 plus years and counting. Talking about power, talking about comfort, when you're talking of functionality, when you're talking of speed, peace of mind, when you're sitting behind the wheel of a Ford F-150, the last thing that you're thinking about is that vehicle. It is going to deliver everything that you need and more. It's an all-around business truck, great for personal use, prestige. When I move around in my champagne colored F-150, people actually look. Super, super durable truck. One of the best investments that I've made was in that Ford F-150. It could haul literally anything you wanted to haul. So it has a very strong, a huge resale market in Nigeria, especially in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and emerging cities like Uyo. As far as like titles goes, you guys know that you cannot export any automobile out of the United States without a title. So in some cases, you may find buyers that will tell you, "Oh, I cannot find the title of the car. This is why it's quote unquote cheap." You want to stay away from that. You only want to focus on vehicles with the title, because without it, the freight forwarding companies are going to request it. The Just to ensure that the vehicle is not stolen. Okay, so you definitely need a title when you are exporting cars. I'm sorry, exporting trucks out of the United States into Nigeria. So the sites that you can find this, auctionexport.com. They have an app. They are very, very active on social media. They are very active on Instagram. Okay. So look into auction export to purchase your used trucks um, to export to Nigeria. So quick summary here. US truck exports to Nigeria remain one of the most profitable vehicle trades, more profitable than passenger vehicles. The top three ports for exports: Baltimore, Maryland, Savannah, Georgia, and Houston, Texas. Also, a fourth will be Freeport, Texas. That's the port that I used when I exported my car um, out of the US. Best ports for arrival: number one is Lagos, Tinkan, and Papa. And then the second is Port Harcourt, Nigeria. So as you know, Nigerians, they prioritize Toyotas. If you can get your hands on a Toyota, truck, any sort of model in the Toyota family, go for it. If you're looking more for American muscle, American reliability, you want to get yourself a Ford F-150. GMCs, Chevys, these are all great brands. It's very hard for you to go wrong when you're sending um, commercial work trucks that people can buy from you, use it for a cargo business, use it to haul goods, use it to move product. So these are the sort of like things that you want to look into. So if you're interested, or if you're serious about starting a vehicle export business from the United States to Nigeria, start with trucks that Nigerians already trust. They trust Ford, they trust Toyota, they trust GMC, and they trust Chevrolet. Sorry for my raspy voice, guys. I've been under the weather this past few days, and I'm starting to feel a lot better. And I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you think. What's your favorite? What's your favorite truck? Where do you source your trucks from? What do you think about the resale value of some of these brands that I mentioned? And what are some ideas or some brands that you know in Nigeria are in demand? Post all of this in the comment section. And thank you guys for tuning in. And I will catch you guys on the next one. All the best.